What?
Okay. All right.
You're the.
So, hi everyone. Welcome to Love, Life, and Medicine. We have all the ladies here. It's been a while. So, my name is Maxine, and we have.
Yeah.
I'm Xiomara.
I'm Azuka.
Hi.
I'm Azuka.
It's been a while because we kind of all were like maybe on vacay, taking some time, to ourselves. So, welcome.
Yes.
How are you guys doing?
Yes. Yeah. Fine. I'm good. It's summertime. Summertime, everybody goes on vacations. What do the city girls call it? Summer
Vacations?
City girls. What do they call it? Summer.
Oh, yes.
okay.
No.
Hot girl summer.
Hot girl summer.
Yes. I feel so old that I did not remember that. But but not city girls. That's Meg. Meg Stallion calls it hot girl summer.
Oh,
And
she's the one.
Oh,
that
sorry.
does that.
See
Okay.
who's old then.
you are
So you
definitely
see-
old.
But yeah, so now we're back. We're back. So to all our listeners, we're back, and today we have several great topics that we're going to be discussing. The first one being about the overturning of Roe versus Wade and the Supreme Court decision. So we know that on June 24th, the Supreme Court, in a 5-4 decision, overturned Roe versus Wade. And this was, of course, a big deal all over social media, through the media, and everything, basically. And they basically left it up to the states to decide, when abortion, if it's legal or if it's not, and if it is, when basically would that be, So I've been looking, and we all have been researching different states, and specifically our states. So I just wanted to know what your thoughts are about it, and what you found out about in regards to your state. So let's start with CEO. Looks like you want to get right into it.
I actually thought it was very interesting. So obviously I moved back to Michigan from Detroit. So I live in Detroit, and what I thought was interesting was first of all, the governor is really fighting hard not to really have abortion totally banned in Michigan. She put a lawsuit out, if I'm not mistaken. But what I found out, just some tidbits on it, that in Michigan there are 87 counties that had no clinics that provided abortion in 2017. And 35% of those Michigan women lived in those counties. Most of the abortion clinics are in southeastern Michigan, where around Detroit, so the Metro Detroit area. And also that's where a lot of the minority population lives. There are also abortion clinics in other areas where there's pockets of minorities. But I felt in terms of the state, if this really does go all the way through, it really does limit access of healthcare to women, especially in those areas, since 87% of those counties don't have those types of clinic needs. That means also those women that are not in those counties drive down to southeastern Michigan. So I thought that was very, very important. Also, there wasn't that many. I was actually really surprised. Michigan only provides 3.1 of the total abortions in the United States. So when they talk about abortions, they make it seem like all these babies are dying, and my state is. I'm not going to say it's insignificant, but that's not that many abortions being done in Michigan for it to be a blue state. What else did I find out? I'm just kind of pointing out the big stuff on my list. So far, it's not banned, but there are severe restrictions that went in on June 28th. So basically, something some of the southern states, a patient must have state-directed counseling. And this is like information that discourages them, and then you have to wait 24 hours before the procedure can be provided. Private insurances policies cover abortion only in the cases of life of endangerment, unless individuals purchase an optional rider at an additional cost. So health plans offered in the state's health exchange under the Affordable Care Act can only cover abortion in case of life endangerment, unless individuals purchase another another rider, which I don't think people will know about that. And if you're on Medicaid, you probably aren't gonna purchase another rider. Period. Point blank. Also, abortion is covered in insurance policies for public employees only in cases of life of endangerment. So basically, so far, abortion is still legal, but only in life of endangerment. If you have a minor, a parent has to consent. Public funding is available for abortion in Michigan still, but for what? Life of endangerment. And an abortion may be performed at or after viability only if the patient's life is endangered. But the state also has put on some like unnecessary and burdensome standards, and there was a long list, I'm not reading that, related to the physical plant, like the physical building and equipment and staffing. So they're just severely restricting it. And like I said, there's not that many clinics anyway in Michigan. So I just thought that was interesting. We still have it for now, but if they vote out Governor Whitmore, who is a Democratic governor, which she might be voted out, then that could be changed. So otherwise, we're still in the clear, kind of. So I'm kind of happy to be a part of a state that kind of cares about healthcare. So that's about it.
Okay. So what about your... No, I was going to ask, what about you?
Yeah, same.
Wait, what about you, Azuka? Sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, same thing. It's okay. I was like, thanks for the new name, Maxine. It's okay. No, the same thing. So Pennsylvania, again, they're trying, I think they made a bill. They were trying to get rid of abortion in Pennsylvania, but the bill hasn't passed. So right now, again, 24-hour waiting period. Prior to that, you get the state canceling to try to discourage you from having it, and then you wait 24 hours. If you're a minor, you have to have a parent. If you're greater than 24 weeks, it has to be due to life endangerment. Insurance only covers it if life endangerment. Affordable Care Act only covers if life endangerment. So same, very restrictive. And I think prior to the ban, they were already really restricting abortion laws. I think taking personal politics out of it, I think as a physician, though, my concern is, I watch, there's this show I watch called, it's about midwives. Oh gosh, it's on Netflix. Anyway, prior to there being birth control and access to legal abortions that are done properly by physicians, there were all these backyard or basement types. No, midwives were good because they're trained to get, but as far as abortions are concerned, people were getting them done in like some weird or person's bedroom or house. It was unsanitary. One of the episodes, and this is all based on how it was back then, and that's why I feel like we're like taking so many steps back. One of the episodes, the lady ended up having to have a hysterectomy, because she developed an infection or bleeding, and they had to. So there are, as far as from a medical standpoint, there are a lot of concerns as far as, okay, if they can't get it done legally, then what are the other options that they're going to pursue that's going to put their women's lives in danger? That's my biggest concern. And then obviously also, in some states they're trying to get rid of, if it's life or death. And Maxine, you may have seen it too in your training that, I've had patients, come in, mothers come in, I can think of one that was an asthma exacerbation. She was coding. she was less than 20 weeks. What do you do? You know, when they're coding, what do you have to do? You deliver because you need to, you know, so there's, but, you know, or if it's an ectopic pregnancy, right? An ectopic pregnancy, for people who don't know, it's a pregnancy that develops outside of the uterus. And if it's in like the fallopian tubes or somewhere dangerous that can rupture, it could put the mother's life in danger. So, so they're trying to ban those type of procedures. So I think this kind of ties our hands as physicians, not my hands exactly, because I'm the anesthesiologist, I'm not performing surgeries, but obstetrics, Maxine, emergency medicine, when they come in, like, it kind of ties our hands at what we can, the healthcare that we can provide.
What I saw in my state,
so,
Georgia, was that actually recently, yesterday, the governor signed a heartbeat bill, and it is basically an abortion ban at 6 weeks when they have a heartbeat. So that's really came into effect yesterday. And from what I was reading about it, though, so basically at 6 weeks, if there's any signs of, you know, heartbeat, it's legal to have an abortion in the state of Georgia. There were some exceptions, and the exceptions were for rape, for incest, but it says as long as a police report is filed. And then it also, another exception was that it said it would allow for later abortions if the mother's life was at risk or for any serious medical condition that would render a fetus unviable. So it didn't go into detail in what, like, specifically, you know, would be considered endangerment of the mom. I'm not sure if that would come down to, like, the OB's, you know, OBGYN's decision. So those were the exceptions that I saw when it came to this. So of course a lot of people are, it's been a lot, especially here in Georgia, like a lot of frenzy, a lot of fear and things of that nature. But of course, as you were saying, I've seen a lot of things on social media, and there's a lot of confusion. So I think it was good for us to go through the differences with the different states of what this means in different states, and as physicians, especially those that are in women's health, how to navigate this.
I think in general that we just know where it's going, and that people should just be prepared that if the country changes in the next 2 years, that there could be a national abortion ban, which I've been reading on several like law review sites, like on University of Michigan Law. A lot of law professors are saying that, like, just be prepared that if the country changes in 2 years, that we're talking about these different states, but in their rules, but eventually we won't have to do that because there might be an actual national abortion law ban. So
okay, all right. So anyway, I hope that our listeners were able to at least be informed, right? To be educated about what's going on, and just basically stay abreast to the changes that are going on in different states when it comes to this abortion ban. So we are going to take a break. We'll be back. In our next topic, we're going to be just talking about popular news with Rkelly and the sentence that he received and what's going on and our thoughts. So we'll see you when we get back.
bye, y'all.
See ya.
All right, guys. So we are back from break, and we are going to talk about Rkelly. So on the 29th of June, he was sentenced to, they said 30 years. And basically, when I was reading, it says after a 6-week trial in Brooklyn, he was convicted of 9 counts of a superseding indictment charging him with racketeering predicated on criminal conduct, including sexual exploitation of children, forced labor, and Mann Act violations involving the coercion and transportation of women and girls in interstate commerce to engage in illegal sexual activity. So, what are your thoughts?
That Rico will get you every time.
What you said?
Anytime Rico was attached to anybody's name, I'm like, you're going to jail. Rico just sounds like it's just serious.
Okay.
I don't know. We've talked about this a little bit before. I've talked with other people. ever since I was I want to say I was in high school. I don't remember exactly, but when that tape came out, I didn't watch it. But you hear about what he was doing.
I watched
that young
it.
girl who was only 14. Of course you did, CL. Who was only 14. What the fact that happened, and I don't care what they say about the girl. I don't care they said she dressed provocatively or she acted older than her age. She was 14, and he knew that. I think at the time because I think she was Sparkles, who was one of his singers or something, her niece or cousin or something. Anyway, he knew. So it's just like this has been known for years. So to me, it's like he ruined people's lives. I think 32 years is a small price to pay for the fact that you did that for so long, still reaped a bunch of benefits, still became, made millions. I don't see any problem with that. I mean, the chickens come home to roost at some point. I just want to know. A lot of people are saying, "Well, what about the other people involved?" People. He had to be enabled. You can't do all, and he was doing it out in the open, out in the open. Everybody knew the culture. Thank God has changed, and I think right now, say what you want. I think society cares a lot more about girls. I think social media has helped that, girls and boys, molestation, but I think social media may have helped that because the fact when you think about all the stuff that he got away with, I just can't believe that it took so long.
Like you said, chicken come to roost. I, for one, am excited that he might be going to jail. Okay? It's about time. He's nasty. He called himself the Pied Piper.
Yes.
That is literally you're singing songs to lure children. I'm not even gonna lie, before when I was younger in 8th grade, I was singing all the songs because you don't know that.
We didn't know.
We didn't know. And he was singing to children. We didn't realize that. Now that I know that he's singing to children, I haven't listened to going out my way to listen to Rkelly for at least a decade. So I'm happy. I mean, we already talked about what he was found guilty of. So 30 years of jail, and apparently his lawyers will appeal. I don't even know he got that type of money. I heard he was going broke. So I'm gonna just need him to take it sitting down because there's something not right with him. He's been molested and raped before as a child. So some that could play a part, but I don't have any sympathy. He's nasty. The next thing, you were talking about culture, it's like the chickens finally come home to roost. You would think that your proteges or people that watch you would kind of see what you're doing and stop doing messed up stuff. But Trey Songz is another one of those. He's very we don't hear about him anymore, but you notice that we don't hear his music on the radio. He got dropped from his label. Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he got dropped. Yes, he got dropped.
I was listening to another podcast, and they said that in a few years, he's going to be the next Rkelly.
Yeah, because it's happening now. Yeah. Trey Songz was cleared in Las Vegas for sexual assault investigation, so there's no criminal charges will be filed. So he's cleared for that, but he's still involved in a $20 million lawsuit that was filed in February, where he claims a woman has raped. Where it was claimed that a woman raped him in 2016. We heard about
he raped a woman.
Yep. Oh yeah, he raped a woman. We heard about Keke Palmer talking about how he was inappropriate. Dylan Gonzalez was the woman that said that he tried to rape her at the Las Vegas hotel. This is not the first time that we've heard of these things, obviously with Rkelly, but you would think Trey Songz, you should be learning because he's been in trouble with the law before, and he's definitely the chickens are coming home to roost with him because you don't hear any music from him, and usually summertime is his thing, but that's because the label dropped his ass, and his team is full of black women, so. How would you feel if you were a black woman trying to promote someone who is actively assaulting people, hitting people in the face with wads of cash, throwing mics at cameramen? Come on. The label can only do so much. And I think that's the problem. Labels conceal these things.
So I think that actually opens up the conversation. And what I was thinking about with this whole R. Kelly thing is that, yes, like, you know, you have to pay the consequences for what you did, but also the people surrounding this, right? Because there's no way, as you said it earlier, that he could, how can you get away with this for so long? And no one really spoke up. Like, it's like everyone was enabling him. So it's like my thoughts about, like, what as a society that people can get away with stuff like this and people could just watch and just don't say anything. Of course, I think authority and power and money also has a say in this too, right? That, but still, it's like we need to do better in protecting young children, you know. And as you were saying, it's a good thing with social media. Social media is like a two-edged sword. It could be a great thing but a bad thing, but at least with bringing more awareness, right, when it comes to exploitation of children sexually and things of that nature. And I think also working in medicine, especially being in the ER, just trying to be aware of these things. So sometimes we may see children come in, whether it's another conversation about trafficking or whatever, but just having my antennas high, like when I'm concerned for whether it's abuse or sexual abuse or anything in a kid, you know. So I think that's another conversation to definitely have about sort of people that need to also be accountable. And in R. Kelly's case, that also probably should be investigated and also should have some sort of consequence.
Most definitely. We'll hear about him soon. I just think that when you're making so much money off of like one person, and literally he, as in R. Kelly was a self-business. So there are people that R. Kelly is paying. Same with Trey Songz. It's like once you know, put away the cash cow, people's lives literally go away. So I think that's what makes us keep it going. And then also, we think because we're grown women now, right? But when you hear about 15-year-olds saying, oh, my boyfriend's like 19, 20, like in high school, it sounds cool, but when you are in college and you're thinking like, okay, I'm 20, why would I walk my behind to a high school to date a child? Like we're both immature, but I'm not that immature, and that's why. But like men don't see it. Like I'm gonna say men don't see a difference. Sometimes women do it too. They don't see the issue. But when you hear a 15-year-old say like my boyfriend's 19, I'm like, I mean they got a teen at the end, but that's weird.
Yeah.
That's weird. So
but that's the culture. The culture is okay.
It is
for older men to date younger women, and I don't know. I just think I'm glad this happened because I think it's brought a lot of awareness to. I think actually his charge, Maxine, sounds like a trafficking, like the RICO.
Yes.
Yeah.
Transporting kids beyond across borders. That actually ties in right with child trafficking. I don't know. I feel having a child, and I don't even think you have to have your own child, but even still, you being an aunt and having nieces, nephews, little cousins. Well, you're not an aunt, you don't have siblings, but being, auntie as in you're older than your cousins. Yes. Yeah, it's just, it breaks your heart, to see, like, kids, you're still innocent. Yeah. Like, I think about when I was, like, in middle school, you're still innocent.
And for that to be taken away from you.
Yeah, taken away from you, I don't think it's fair, And I'm glad that this happened. I hope it makes other people, like, between him, Max ZL, the one that was helping Jeffrey Epstein. Was it Jeffrey Epstein? Yeah, she got 20 years in prison.
Ghislaine Maxine, or whatever her name is. Good for her.
The reason I'm not touching on the Trey Songz thing yet is because he hasn't been convicted of anything. Right. But to me, if somebody keeps, I always tend to err on the side of women, but I also, you have to be careful. But there did seem to be a pattern there, and I'm gonna stay tuned to see, because this, I want to say it's like I don't think that is a sickness where they don't need to go to jail. I think you still go to jail, but I also think it's a sickness. Like, if you're making my husband always says this, you're a multimillionaire. You have access to all the women in the world who will do anything that you want. I don't understand the need to want to rape somebody or date somebody that's like 10 or 40. To me, that's a sickness. you still need to be punished because you know right or wrong. But I think I'm glad that everybody's shedding light on the sickness that's out there and, protecting our little girls and our little boys. And I think we, especially like in our different cultures, like some cultures are all like, oh, if that person's older than you, you have to do what that person says because they're right and you're wrong. That plays into it. I'm teaching my son to be a little bit more, if you don't want to give that person a hug, don't give him a hug. That's your right. You have some autonomy. Just because you're a child doesn't mean that you have to just sit on uncle whoever the heck's lap, or you know what I mean. I think we have to be more aware of those things. And it's not, you wouldn't even think that because it seems innocent, but people are sick, and so you have to be very overly protective. Maxine, you have a daughter.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. There are people like we'll be grocery shopping and like random people, be like hi, and then she'll sometimes she'll say hi, sometimes she doesn't, and I have to get in the habit of like not like being like say hi, you know what I mean? Like
say hi,
if she doesn't want to say hi, she doesn't want to say hi, and she's not rude, but she's not gonna say hi, and so. It is what it is. Yeah, you're a stranger, and we do say don't talk to strangers. You know what I mean? So
yes,
I wholeheartedly agree for us to be careful, and then also for me, with kids also, and especially a son, thinking that as he's growing, teaching him about self-control and boundaries, because I think that's the issue with some of these men that they don't have self-control, and that can go throughout in many areas of your life, right? If you can't control yourself. And not understanding your boundaries and not understanding I think it's super important. And especially when you're in a place of elevation and power and money. And if you don't have self-control, then you're going to be out here doing anything. You know what I mean? So I think it's super important. And that's something I'm going to instill in my children, both learning self-control, learning discipline, and boundaries.
Yes,
I think it's important, especially for... Especially for, we raise, what do they say? People raise their girls, but it's like they raise their girls, but they don't coddle their boys. So like we definitely like make sure we put all these boundaries around girls, but when it comes to,
he's just being rough.
He's just a boy, and it's kind of like no, because like you said, boundaries play a role in other areas of your life. So it's not just boundaries with women. If you have boundaries with women, you also have self-control in your business, in your personal life, in your and just like things that like, man, I shouldn't be doing that. I'm good. Like it helps you to be actually a successful person,
Yes.
So
I mean, so good luck to Rkelly.
Not good.
I mean, he got what he deserved. He's good.
I'm the audacity that he's trying to appeal. If I only got 30 years after doing all that, I would just go take myself, get my little commissary set, take myself to the corner, and like the audacity, sir. No,
I agree wholeheartedly.
Okay. But that's why you have to. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't understand why people do so much dirt, because I'll be damned if I'm in my 50s and 60s and I gotta be in jail for the rest of my life. Like, I'm old by then. I can't even. Like, I just. Yes, like. Just do right by people, But anyway, that's my little Martin Luther King spiel.
Okay. All right. So let's take a break, and then we're gonna get back and just kind of end the podcast with some good conversation about advice and just to congratulate the interns, because we are in the month of July. So we'll take a break, and we'll come back and we'll continue. All right, so we are back, and with this session, we're going to be just congratulating our interns, and for those that are listening that are not in the medical field, so after medical school, which is 4 years, and we graduate, we start training called residency, and everyone is in a specific residency. It's your specialty, depending on whatever you want to go into, and intern is the first year, so it's like you're fresh out of medical school. You think you know some things, but you don't really know anything. And it's a big deal because it's such a rigorous process to even match. And a matching is basically the process of you being matched to a program and a specialty. Because sometimes some people may not match into even a specialty that they want or a specific program. And So to make it this far is a big deal. So we all want to congratulate all the interns out there.
Yes,
congrats. Yeah.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yay!
And I think we should we can delve into like what you guys want to say, any advice you would want to give, how you guys felt when you guys were interns, if you remember.
Well, you want to go first?
Go ahead.
Oh. So I will say intern year is going to be tough, and it's just going to be a new environment, obviously. So you'll be tired all the time because you actually have to go to work. It's like actual work. But one thing I will always say is keep a positive outlook and be nice all the time. Now, that does not mean like be fake nice, but just always be polite and courteous. It does go a long way. I say that just from my own experiences, and you're gonna have moments where you wanna like scream on people and get into verbal arguments with people. I will say try not to do it. Not even to keep it at a minimum. Just try not to do it, because there's always somebody watching you, and someone is always watching how you handle a situation. And then also remember that this is only a short blip in your life, and that the moment that you're having where you're, stressed out and tired, that literally you worked for this. Some of you might have prayed for this. But just know that like it's only a moment in your life. So the person you want to scream on, because I'm saying this because I screamed on somebody, just don't. just don't scream on them, because there's always somebody noticing the abuse or the mistreatment that you're experiencing. So just always rise above. Obama says Michelle Obama says when we go high, when they go low, we go high. So actually go high. But when they went low, I went to the gutter. So don't do me. Be better than me. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my advice.
Yeah, I piggyback off of that. My intern year. So imagine being 4 years just learning the classroom, lectures, anatomy lab. All of a sudden, you're taking care of patients. And I don't know how it was for your residencies, but for anesthesiology, it's like being thrown in an ocean with no life jacket. It's kind of like from the very beginning, they expect you to know how to do stuff, and so it's a shock.
Yeah.
But I agree with CEO. I think the reason I got through my residency, so well, I made it through, is because you just have to be nice. You have to be. It's like you're pledging a sorority or something. Like you just have to first of all, you're dealing with lives, so already nobody trusts you. And now as an attending, I see why, because we don't know anything at that point. So everybody's gonna be wary. So just keep that in mind, that you are literally a liability. So everybody's gonna be, a little suspect. But that's okay. Like Theo said, it's momentarily. Literally the next year, you get gradually more trust. You won't always be at the bottom, okay? So just hang in there. I think it's important to find a support system and to protect your mental health, self-care. There are a lot of different organizations. There's a Facebook group called YBAD. If you're on Facebook, join that. They even have it so that you can be anonymous. So if there's a lot of people that have all kinds of issues, go there. You can ask your questions. You can email us or DM us, because we've all been through it. If your family is your support system, and then read from the even before. If you know kind of what you want to go into, start reading before that, because you're gonna have exams every year, and unfortunately, a lot of programs weigh how good you are of a doctor based on those exams. So if you come out the gate running. Don't come out the gate running too fast, because if you peak in your first year, then you got to peak every other year after that. So, kind of just do, do well. Whatever keeps you under the radar, do well. And then this is the one time in your life where it's like going out to dinner and you don't have to pay for anything, right? You're on somebody else's license. So try to do all the procedures, try to get in all the cases, try to do all the surgeries. Just take advantage of. You don't want to make any mistakes. These are people's lives, but this is a time where you can actually learn. So take advantage of it, because when you become an attending, nobody's feeling sorry for you. Nobody's you're out on your own, and it's your license that you have to guard. So you want to have as much experience as you can. And then, you're going to, depending on where you do your residency, being a person of color, you may have some adversity there, but you have to pick and choose your battles, okay? As far as patients are concerned, we took an oath, so, you can always, talk to your senior if there's any issues there, but you want to be nice. Like, even if I've had patients that don't want me as their doctor because of whatever reason, I kill them with kindness, because at the end of the day, I try to put myself in their position, and I always treat your patients like a family member or a friend or a loved one. That's what I always do, no matter how, because that's the oath that we took. If you're having issues with anybody else, don't go to the CEO of the hospital or a lawyer first. Try to address the situation with the person first, or find a senior or somebody that you can talk to, and try to get things in writing, because make sure there's a paper trail, so that if something happens, they can't say, well, I never heard of this, or nothing ever happened, or I was never aware. So it's a fun time. Now that I think about it, it's a lot of sleepless nights, but it's a fun time. But yes, CEO's right. You're working. You got a job.
Yeah.
It's your job.
Yeah. So what I would say for interns, I wholeheartedly agree with what you guys said, and having a support system is key, especially if you're somewhere else away from family or friends, like in a different state. So whether it's your co-residents that you can kind of befriend and really get close to, or seniors or mentorship, like anyone within the faculty that you can lean on, that's going to be key, because as everyone said, it's a lot of hours. You're going to be tired. You may doubt yourself, question even why you're in medicine. Intern year for me, at one point I was like, do I even want to do this, right? And I had to, and I spoke with a senior who really helped me put everything into perspective. Like, was it because I was questioning it because it was hard, or was it because I didn't like medicine? You know what I mean? And so really sitting down, I had to ask myself the hard questions, like, okay, no, I do like medicine. It might have been some people that kind of made it a little difficult for me, working with, but it was kind of like, you're going to be okay. You just got to get through these next, few years, push through it, and there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So if you are struggling right now and it's just been a month, that's okay. Just, find someone that you can trust and talk to and read, and just do your best. Do your best, show up, be nice. Sometimes the nurses may come at you kind of crazy, but it's okay. You just gotta and I think when you show the nurses in a polite way that your stuff, they'll trust you more, right? And then they'll even help you. There'll be nurses that will look out for you when you're about to make a mistake. So you just got to be friendly to everybody, even to the janitor, to whoever the CEO. You never know.
Yes,
so
everybody.
Nice,
nobody's beneath you. Yes, you do not have. I'm telling you, the people in intern year and residency who are jerks or pompous or think they know everything, the magnifying glass is on you. So you make the first minor mistake, it's a wrap. And you'll just be labeled for the rest of the residency. So just start out being nice to everybody. And you should be nice to everybody anyway. So it's good practice. The janitor is, especially during COVID, these janitors were the ones cleaning up the rooms, in the thick of it. So why wouldn't you be nice to them? The cafe, everybody just be a good person, be a nice person, and be careful. Be type A about everything. I guess it depends on what specialty. Maybe anesthesia, you have to be type A. But I was just very careful about everything I did, very organized, and then read and pray. If you're a praying person,
that was
pray.
key for me.
I was a praying person.
Yeah, my family
go to church. Church was very helpful.
Yep.
Yes, church and family. Yes.
It's very important. Very, very important. And so, also remember that you're working under, your attending's license. But another reason why nurses are so anal is that they have a license to protect too. And in terms of, if a patient decides to sue or something, when they pull up the notes, they're pulling up the notes of everybody. So nurses are on there too, and their license will get taken away too. So it is just very important to realize that you are not the only medical provider that matters. There are other people that also matter in the whole treatment team, and it's not just the doctor. I know as an intern you're like, why this nurse did this, and it might seem a little frustrating. It's only because you're not looking at the treatment team as a whole. So just also be very...
Or the fact that Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that's it. Just be mindful of the fact that you are not the sole provider. The nurse is also a sole provider, and they're a part of the treatment team, and they also help out. So, that's about it.
Yep. Yeah. And I'm trying to think of other resources for people. I guess it depends on the specialty.
Yeah, it does.
For anesthesiology, I think getting Faust was helpful. Faust is a textbook. So if you read that back to front, you're good. And then they had that little pocket book. I don't know if they have one for anesthesia. I know they have one for emergency medicine. I forgot what it was called. I bought one when I wanted to be an ED doctor. Forgot. But a pocket manual. I mean, just read. I think Mayo Clinic has a book that you can read and stuff too. But contrary to people believe, especially if you're going to fellowship, the numbers matter.
Oh yeah, with the shelf exams.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. I don't know if the ITEs, in training exams. I don't know what they call them.
Yeah, they're called ITEs for us too. The numbers do matter. Yeah. I didn't get a fellowship, and I don't feel bad about it because I was tired of residency. But for me to get a fellowship, numbers would have mattered for me too. So numbers do matter. Take your in-training exams seriously. Don't fall asleep in them. I say that because I fell asleep in mine.
Somebody fell asleep.
Yeah. I was tired. I was on call. Okay, it was a long night. Also, just be mindful. And the reason why I say don't fall asleep in them, be mindful of when your test is, because when your things are scheduled, when you have your call schedule, whoever is making your call schedule may not know when your in-training exam is. And so that's what happened to me. My in-training exam was literally the morning I got off call, and I had an emergency case. So my test started at 8. I was getting out of the OR at 6 a.m. So, and then and then after my test, I still had to go back to the hospital because I was on call again. And so as an intern, you're afraid to kind of speak up, but it really was to my detriment, because after that, people were looking at me like, dang, she real stupid. But with that, I also gave myself a huge cushion to excel, because the next year I did very well, but that's just because I literally did speak up. They asked me about what I would change different, and I said, we cannot have interns or anybody taking exams when you're on call, because it really does affect it. So I say that not because I was lackadaisical, but because I was afraid to speak up and say that, hey, my test is on this day. I want to do well on my exam. So please speak up. If you want to have go further than your residency, you have to make that a priority.
So I just wanted to thank everyone for listening today to our episode. And just as a reminder, anyone that's listening, whether you're in medicine or not, if you have any questions, please feel free to DM us on at LLM podcast, or you can DM us individually. You can email us at lovelifeandmedicine@gmail.com. Please interact with us, engage with us on social media. If you have any ideas on topics that you guys want to hear about, let us know as well, and we'll definitely make sure we incorporate that in our future episodes. So thank you guys for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Deuces.
Bye. Bye, ladies.
Bye.